The city was a symphony of grays, gray pavement, gray buildings, gray skies that seemed to press down on the narrow street called Cobble Lane. It was a place where sunshine felt like a distant memory, and smiles were rare treasures. People hurried past each other, eyes fixed on the ground, shoulders hunched against the perpetual chill and the weariness of just getting by. At the very end of the lane stood a particularly bleak brick wall, scarred by time and weather, its mortar crumbling in places. It leaned slightly, as if even it was tired of holding itself upright against the oppressive weight of the city. This wall was the backdrop to young Lily's world, a silent, imposing presence she passed every single day on her way to and from her small, drafty apartment. She often traced the rough bricks with her small fingers, wondering if color had ever touched this place. One damp, drizzly afternoon, as Lily slowly made her way home, a tiny glint of impossible green caught her eye. Nestled deep within a jagged crack in the ancient brickwork, almost invisible, was something astonishing. A single pale green shoot. It was impossibly fragile, thinner than a thread, yet it defiantly pushed upwards towards the sliver of dull light filtering through the buildings. Lily gasped, her breath misting in the cool air. She crouched down, ignoring the dampness seeping into her knees, her heart pounding with sudden wonder. In this harsh place, devoid of life, a seed had somehow found its way into the tiny fracture, gathered unseen strength, and dared to begin. "Hello," Lily whispered, her voice barely audible over the distant city hum. "How did you get here?" From that day on, the little shoot became Lily's secret purpose. Every morning, before the street truly woke, she would carefully pour a few precious drops of water from her small bottle onto the crack, whispering words of encouragement. Every evening, she returned, sometimes shielding the tiny plant with her cupped hands from the biting wind, or the occasional careless splash from a passing vehicle. She scavenged bits of nutrient-rich dirt from forgotten corners of a distant park, painstakingly pressing them into the crevice around the fragile stem. Her small fingers grew rough from the brick, but she didn't mind. She watched with bated breath as the shoot grew sturdier, unfurling its first pair of true, delicate leaves. It was a tiny beacon of defiance against the gray news of Lily and her wall-bound plant. Spread slowly through Cobble Lane, mostly met with weary skepticism or dismissive shakes of the head. Mrs. Gable, who lived in the building beside the wall, peered down one day. "Child," she said, her voice sharp with practicality honed by decades in the gray, "that's a fool's errand. Nothing good grows in cracks like that. The cold will kill it, or the soot will choke it. You're wasting your water and your time." Her words stung, echoing the doubts Lily sometimes felt in the quiet moments. But then she'd look at the small plant, its leaves a vibrant, impossible green against the dark brick, and feel a surge of stubborn hope. "It's alive, Mrs. Gable," Lily replied softly but firmly, her gaze fixed on the tender leaves. "It needs to grow." Weeks turned into months. Lily's unwavering dedication became a quiet fixture on Cobble Lane. The plant, fed by her devotion and perhaps the sheer will to exist, grew. It developed a slender, surprisingly strong stem that hugged the brick, and more leaves appeared, forming a small, bright cluster in the crevice. People began to pause, not just Mrs. Gable, but others too. The weary postman would slow his steps, the gruff shopkeeper from the corner stall sometimes glanced its way. They didn't say much, but their eyes lingered a little longer on that splash of green. It became a silent question, a tiny challenge to the unrelenting grayness that defined their lives. A fragile sense of shared anticipation began to weave itself through the lane, thin but undeniable. Then came the morning. Lily approached the wall with her water bottle, her steps slowing as she saw it nestled among the leaves, like a small miracle painted by dawn's first light. Was a single, perfect flower, but it was tightly closed, a promise wrapped in pale green sepals. A hushed murmur rippled down the lane as people noticed Lily standing utterly still, her eyes wide with disbelief and joy. The impossible was about to happen. Days of unbearable suspense followed. Lily hardly slept, visiting the wall multiple times a day. The whole lane seemed to hold its breath. And then, on a morning washed clean by overnight rain, Lily arrived to find the bud unfurled. It was a simple flower, 5 petals of the purest, most luminous white lily had ever seen. With a heart of softest gold it glowed against the grimy brick. Utterly perfect, breathtakingly beautiful tears streamed down Lily's cheeks as she simply stared. Overwhelmed by the sheer, fragile triumph of it, the transformation wasn't loud, but it was profound. The white flower became Cobble Lane's quiet jewel. People stopped not just to look, but to linger. Mrs. Gable started leaving a small cup of water by her doorstep for Lily to use. Someone else placed a tiny, hand-painted stone figure of a bird near the base of the wall. The postman began offering a gruff morning to passers-by. The pervasive gray seemed less absolute, less suffocating, inspired by the stubborn beauty Lily had nurtured. Other small changes appeared. A window box with struggling geraniums bloomed on a previously bare sill. Someone swept the pavement in front of their shop with newfound care. Cobble Lane didn't become a paradise overnight, but color, care, and hesitant connections began to push through the cracks of indifference, mirroring the flower's journey. Years flowed by like the water Lily once carried. The original white flower eventually faded, but the plant lived on, stronger and more resilient, its leaves a deep, enduring green against the brick. More importantly, its legacy took root. Lily, older now but still carrying that quiet determination, became known in the neighborhood. Children learned the story of the seed in the crack. People tended their own small patches of green, shared cuttings, and smiled more readily. Cobble Lane would always bear the marks of the city, but it was no longer defined solely by its grayness. It was a place where people remembered that even in the hardest, most unexpected places, a seed of hope could take root, grow against all odds, and change everything. The wall still stood, a silent witness, but the crack where life began was now a landmark, a testament to the enduring power of one small act of belief.